Okay, in today's video we're going to talk about basic 7 chords. So just like we learned the basic major and minor chords on the guitar, we're also going to learn some standard 7 chords that also are in open position on the guitar and are very common shapes that you might see. Now just so you know, technically these chords are considered what we call dominant 7 chords. There are other types of 7 chords that we will learn about later, like major 7s, minor 7s, and others. But for right now we're just going to focus on the regular old 7 chords. So if we see a chord that says A7, this is what we're referring to, and that's technically known as a dominant 7, which we will talk more about later. But today we just want to learn the shapes on the guitar and understand the most basic elements of playing 7 chords in open position. So we're going to go over all of the 7 chords from A to G in open position. Okay, so for the A7 chord, you will notice that the shape here is very similar to an A major chord. If you also have a dot here on the 3rd string, you would have a regular A major chord. But what we did is we took out this finger and we lifted off, then you have an open string here, so you have an open G. Basically thinking of it as an A major chord without the middle finger on the chord. So for the A7 chord, we're basically going to take a regular A major chord, then you lift off the middle finger, and then the 3rd string is now open. Okay, so you play down the bottom 5 strings. Now that's a little awkward with the 1st finger here, so generally we're going to play with our 2nd finger here. So if you see that, we have our 2nd and 3rd finger here, representing the 2 notes on the chart behind us. So we basically have our 2nd finger on E, which is the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then also we have our 3rd finger on C sharp, which is the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. So then you play all bottom 5 strings, just like a regular A major chord. And that's how you play A7. And then for the B7 chord, we're basically going to play this shape, which is like a triangle. We're going to use our 2nd, 1st, and 3rd finger to play this triangle shape on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string on the guitar. Now, you can also add the pinky here on the 1st string, 2nd fret, F sharp, to give the full sound of the chord. So you play all bottom 5 strings. However, if you want to play a very easy version of this chord in the beginning, you can leave out this note and just play the triangle right here. So the B7 basically looks like this. You have 3 notes creating a triangle here. Then you put your pinky at the bottom on the 1st string, 2nd fret. So you get this sound. Okay, so again we have our 2nd finger, 5th string, 2nd fret, 1st finger here, 4th string, 1st fret, and then we have our 3rd finger here on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. And then if we want to finish the chord down here, we can put our pinky on the 1st string, 2nd fret. So the whole chord is like all bottom 5 strings. And that's how you do B7. Then we have the C7 chord, which is basically the same as a C major chord. If we don't play this note, it's just the same as a C major chord. But if we add this note in there, we get a C7. So the fingers are going to be 3, 2 starting the chord, then you have your pinky here playing this note, and then your 1st finger back here, just like a normal C chord. So to do a C7 chord, what you want to do is start with a regular C chord, then you're going to add the pinky on the 3rd string, the note is B flat. So we have C7 chord, and you've added the pinky here, the 3rd string, 3rd fret. So that's C7. Okay, and then for the D7 chord, it's very similar to the B7 shape, the triangle. We just move it over 2 strings. So now you're playing the 2, 1, 3, fingers 2, 1, and 3, making a triangle here on the 1st 3 strings of the guitar. So the D7 chord basically goes like this. We play the bottom 4 strings of the guitar, and we're making the same triangle we did in the B7 chord. We just took this and moved it down 2 strings. So we have 2nd finger here on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, 1st finger here on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, then you're doing your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string. So it's 2, 1, 2 are the frets going down. That's D7. Okay, and then we have the E7 chord, which uses all 6 strings on the guitar. So just like an E major chord, we're going to play all 6 strings, but we're going to take out the note in the middle, so that happens to be the ring finger here. So we're going to take off the 3rd finger, and then you get all 6 strings like this. So So just like in the chart, the only notes that we're playing are 2nd fret on the 5th string and also 1st fret on the 3rd string, and then the rest are open. Now there are other ways to play that in open position. You can also add a pinky here, but we're doing the most simple one we can today, so we're just sticking with the 2-finger version. Now the F7 chord is really the only 7 chord that's a bit tricky to play in open position without being able to do a bar chord. So the F7 chord really requires barring the finger to get the correct sound out of that chord, especially lower on the guitar. But today we're going to show you the really easy version of doing an F7 chord. It's basically just 2 fingers. So if you go 1st fret on F, and you play open on the A string, then you play 1 again, that gives you a very simple F7 chord. It's not the ideal F7 chord, but in the beginning, it's kind of one of the best choices. The only other option would be to take our 3-point chord and move this note down, but that kind of gives you more of a diminished sound. But we just want to stick with the very easy version for today. So this one, you're actually only going to play those 3 notes, no other open strings. Just play this little tiny thing, and you can just do fingers 2 and 3, just like you're playing an A7 chord. So basically for our super easy version of the F7 chord, we're just going to play. We could use our 1st and 2nd finger, but I think it's a little better like this. That's it, just those 3 strings. Now this is a chord that can move up the guitar, but for right now, it's 1, 0, 1. So frets 1 on the 6th string, 0 on the 5th string, and then 1 again on the 4th string. And that's F7. Later we're going to learn how to play F7 as a bar chord like this. But right now we're doing the easy version, F7. Alright, and last but not least we have our G7 chord in open position. This chord is basically like a stretched out C chord. So what you're going to do here is imagine a C chord shape, just a regular old C. Then we're going to take the 1st finger and pull it down a string. So now it's going to be all the way down on the 1st string, 1st fret. Then we're going to move these 2 fingers up to the top. And that's a G7, all 6 strings you can play. So as you can see, I have my 3rd and 2nd finger going like this. So we have 3rd fret on the 6th string, 2nd fret on the A string, and then we're skipping all the other strings all the way down to the 1st fret on the 1st string. So it's like this, like a stretched out C chord. Alright, and that's G7 in open position. Okay guys, so those are the standard shapes for 7 chords in open position on the guitar. So in the beginning, when you're learning songs on guitar with chords, you might see songs that have basic major, minor chords, and also you'll see these 7 chords. So this is what we're referring to today by our basic 7 chords. Okay? Later we're going to learn a lot more about different types of 7 chords, minor 7, major 7, all that stuff, but right now we're just sticking with the basic open position chords that you're going to encounter when you're first learning songs on the guitar. For example, if you go on the internet and search a song and you see the chord shapes, this is what they're talking about.